All right, so we'll set up the context. So this is how to train with Joe Makiotoshi embryonically. So I use the term embryonic to note that it's not the way you apply it. The great distinction here is that a lot of people think that you block in Makiotoshi, and that's just not true. And so, for example, if I push his sword around and he goes to Kirigayash, you'll see a lot of people block, and that won't work. I don't have the mechanical advantage to make that work. Okay? That's not an application of that. It's a yang-yang clash. It's inconsistent with Aikido. It's just wrong. Does everyone do it? Yes, but they're wrong. Okay? An application timing is, boom, I'm hitting it amidst its attack. Okay? Why can you train embryonically and why should you? You'll see if you do that at higher speeds, beginners just can't do it. Okay? You need to develop skills. And what usually happens when you push someone outside their skill is they do survival techniques, and we'll slow it down. Their application phase looks like this. You see? And they're trying to do that. The downside of that is that violates weapon fighting. So there's two basic rules in weapons fighting, and especially in Aikido that has an Aiki aspect to it. I try to make contact with that weapon somewhere amidst whatever it's doing, and then I stay stuck to it. I generate an Aiki adhesion. Wherever I lose the Aiki adhesion, I follow the weapon. Okay, that's just a standard weapon tactic. You do it in body art, but it's not as relevant in my opinion because there's leeway. If you brush my face with a jab, I'm still in the fight, but you cut out my eye, I'm not in the fight. Okay? So, just so those who don't know it, for example, let's say I make contact and he goes around, I'm following the weapon, do you see? That would be one strategy. If he, in this case, I don't have contact with the weapon, so I have to now use the other strategy, and that is that I remained, or I fuse my defense and my offense. So as I'm working for that attack, I'm covering myself as I'm starting to follow the weapon. So I don't have contact, but you can see I'm shielding myself because his kirigayashi could come low, boom, down on the leg. You won't know that because you don't have contact with it, okay? So you have to shield yourself as long as possible until you can identify, oh, he's coming over the top, boom, and that's when I would hit it. So if we look maybe from here, stay there, camera, maybe a little over here. And you now look what my Joe is doing, you'll notice that it's covering my body as it's trying to figure out what his weapon is doing. So my defense is canceling out angles until I know exactly what his weapon is doing. Boom, this way. Boom. So I could cover the low, I can cover the medium, and I can cover the high. Hence, why you can't go like this. This only works because you knew he was coming high. Okay? So I need to know how to cover my body, but it doesn't mean I'm blocking my body. Okay? So we work like this. You could set it up from here. There's no reason why you can't. And now this stops, in training, this stops being an actual sword cut, and it becomes the angle that I use to teach me that fusion of offense and defense. So I move to the right my weapon comes up. My weapon comes up in that same shielding geometry. Okay? This will be progression 1. Give the cue, find the mai, bring your weapon up in that same fusion, angle of deflection, angle of attack. Okay, let's try progression 1. Okay, so as I come around, you have your outer rim concept, right? So you don't want to defend things outside your outer rim. So my right elbow in particular, but it's never going to go way outside my outer rim. There's no need to defend anything out here with that, okay? So pay attention, my elbow comes up my shoulder line when I do the movement. Likewise, if I bring my elbow in, then I didn't shield that shoulder, okay? So a lot of people game this part and they kind of just go like here like that. No, I don't know what he's gonna do. So I keep my elbow in on that yang line and do the movement. Make yourself smaller. So on my base is gonna lower so that the bottom part of my weapon, the elbow on this side, is following the same rule. So it's not gonna go out, it's not gonna come in. I shrink my target zone as I move. Boom. Okay, so to continue this embryonic training, he will lower because it's not a sword cut and I'm not blocking it, but it's going to give me the elements for progression 2. So I'm 1, elbows are inside my outer rim. I make myself small. Boom. Second detail, you're not fighting the weapon. So don't look over here. The fight is over here. Foot, spine, center, and intention is on him. Elbows on your yang line, low, oriented towards him. Okay, try it. Add those details. One more detail on progression 1 is your hands. Okay, so my rear hand, the right hand in this case, is my power hand. Okay, so as I move over, doing all that, it is going to remain gripped and roll all the way to cover my whole body, but also for progression 2 to bring as much power into progression 2. I'm not blocking, so I don't need this hand to be closed, okay? And in fact, closing it violates your striking principles. So if I was gonna punch him, I don't flex my fist from the whole time. I don't move very fast. My fist is pretty loose until boom, right before contact. Then you'll have that fist formation, okay? So same thing here, boom, right hand close, close, complete the cycle of action and go all the way to here. Other hand, I'll leave open. To put tension with that closed grip is to bring tension throughout the rest of the body, and that would slow me down at application timing, okay? So add that, fix your hands. Ready, progression 2. So we come around. Again, this is not a cut, but right now it's teaching me the mind where I need to be, how far out, okay? And that means that when we make contact, he's not trying to finish a cut. He's not a cut because this is not a block. I should never let that contact here happen at application phase. This is incorrect. Okay, this is embryonic training phase. So he's gonna leave his sword at that complementary angle. And in progression 2, what I'm gonna do is not push the contact point. So here, the yin-yang axis, I'm not gonna push it, I'm not gonna move it, I'm not gonna move it, I'm gonna go around it. So my job is to bring the weapon to bear, keep contact, neither go, oh, I came off, oh, I'm moving it. I keep contact, he stays there, and I go around it, and then down to the tsuba, where I'm in range for the wrist strike. There, he stops, he doesn't keep falling. I go around it, the left hand will start to close. I'm on the other side, boom. Come to the other side, camera. Added details is I'm going to make sure that my power hand is underneath the majority of my mass. So right underneath my center. Not back, not forward. And then secondarily, I'm going to make sure my mass is over my power hand. So as this hand starts to drop, I'm going to put my weight on this hand. You can see how I'm getting over the top of it. It's under me, but I'm over the top of it. Let's go back a little. Here it's under me, but I'm on the side of it. Okay? I want to be over the top of it. Can I move from here? Yes, I can move from there. If you can't move from there, that's another issue. That's on you. Okay? Go. Okay, so what this rotating cross is doing, you see, this is where I want to be, and I'm training myself to do that. I'm not going to move it over, then come here. I'm not going to move it this way, and then come here. I'm not going to separate and didn't do any of those either, okay? So if you watch, if I have my weapon here, and you picture that point in space, I'm not going to go forward with it because I'm trying to defend myself as long as possible. Watch what happens to my angles of defense. I went forward, okay? As I go forward, my head starts to be uncovered. If I take that point in space and I move it this way, I start to uncover the left side of my body, okay? So in application phase, there's no cross that ever makes contact, but energetically, in terms of attacking angles and defending angles, I keep that cross in place. So I keep that point in place, and you can see the third joke by my hands is still shielding my body, and I have another defense here. That I'm behind the weapon. You do that all the time in Aikido. It's just one line, yeah, but it's enough, okay? And that's what you're training here. 1, 2, no, no. Keep it there, soft, around. You're now in that other defensive angle that I now attack with. Boom. Different. Different. Go from one guard to the other guard. Boom, and then attack with it. Okay? Try it again. Okay, so in application phase, as you come around and you, boom, you hit here, how far do you go down is dependent upon when you've captured his center. You'll feel his center, you'll feel the check of the feet, and you'll feel the projection. The faster everything's going, the less movement you have to do. But this is training, this embryonic training. So I like people to train for all the way down to the bottom, okay? And how soon do you capture someone's feet is not only a matter of how fast you're going, but what is their internalization skill. So if he can reconcile a lot of energy, I probably have to go deeper into my action cycle, okay? So I need to have the skill of being able to go all the way to the ground if I needed to, okay? So that's what we're doing here. 1, 2, I'm gonna come all the way down, boom, all the way, I still feel his center, okay? If for him to reconcile more, we're on the ground, okay? The sensei used to make us go to the ground sometimes. But I have to feel his body. So this is progression 3, around, boom. I still feel his feet. Detail, I'm not in his hands only. I'm not just hitting his hands here. Okay? It's going to go into his center. So don't just aim on his hands and try to get his hands, You're in his center. So boom, you should have a projection energy that causes some displacement. That is your yin energy for Idimi. And again, if you don't have internal skills, you've never experienced them, you're like, why is he jumping? That's not on me, that's on you. Go learn these skills, go experience them. It's just a rebounding energy. If you've seen a ball bounce, cool, that's it. Don't sit there and look at the bouncing ball and go, impossible, okay? So that's our progression 3. 1, 2, I'm still doing the cross thing. Boom, I'm in his body. I should feel his feet at a minimum. If you can, take it into his center. Boom, bop. Okay, where you get some sense that, oh, I'm projecting across the sagittal plane. All right, here we go, progression 3. So detail on progression 3. It's a yin-yang art, and the way that it is designed is that you have to have both elements. You don't ever go left arm is yin, always, right arm is yang, always. And nor would you ever have 2 yin or 2 yang. You wouldn't have that either, okay? So, if he's up top, came around, my hands don't move together. Do you see that? This is very common, but if you pay attention, you'll violate the rules of progression 2. You move your hands together, you're moving the weapon. Even if you drop around the other side, I'm starting to come off of it, you see? So you're like, okay, I'm not gonna push it, Dave. All right, don't push it, but bring your hands together. The weapon's gonna come off together, okay? If you pay attention, the right hand is moving, left hand has not moved yet. You see that? Right hand moved, left not. And eventually it starts to move behind. Right closed, left open. You see? Right is power hand as we're coming around. Boom, I hit, and at this point, there's no more power here. There's still a little rotation here. Is entering its yin phase. It'll roll over. This is entering its yang phase. Boom! So the left hand does come into play. Yes, this is a beginner mistake. You use your left hand. But this is also a beginner mistake where you're not using the left hand and it's just the right hand. They're going to yin yang, and that means they're going to phase. So look for that. At the end, boom, your left hand has power on it, okay? There is power on the left hand, so I'm on top, okay? All right, try it.